Ready? Yeah! Let's go! Wait, what? Is that a monster in your pocket? Well, yes, as a matter of fact. Yeah, monster in my pocket. Yeah, you guessed it. What's real? There's a side effect. Good, always ready.
Get your hands out of your pockets, because this week we're taking a look at Monster in My Pocket, made by Matchbox in 1989. So the Monster in My Pocket series is a series of little plastic and vinyl toys that are exactly what you think. They're little monsters, and they're mythological and fictional monsters from like legends and from different types of Hollywood movies and media. And there's over 229 of the monsters in all. There was only one playset ever released for the series, and that was the Monster Mountain, which is basically just a big plastic display case that you can mount on a wall that is shaped like a mountain. There were other various toys released for the line, like a Monster in My Pocket board game, where the different types of monsters would have different strengths, whether they were in a lava zone, an earth zone, or a city zone. Later on in the series, there would be the Monsters in My Pocket Dinosaur series, and even the Monster in My Pocket Space Alien series, which light up, and both are extremely rare to encounter. There was even a 4-part mini-series comic that was done for the Monster in My Pocket toy line, and it gained so much in popularity that in 1992 there was a Monster in My Pocket video game made by Konami. Alright, so first off, let's take a look at the Monster in My Pocket Series 1. And here we have the Monster. Of course, we all know him much better as Frankenstein, but with Universal Studios, Matchbox and Mattel didn't want to get into trouble, so a lot of times they used names that weren't copyright protected. Now you can see there's really good detailing on him here. He's got the lug bolts in his head, screwing his brain together, and he has the chains on his back that also wrap around his front with his tunic. And you can see on the back he has a number, the number 15. Now why all of the Monster in My Pockets have this, and you can also see the Matchbox stamp here on the bottom, that way you know it's a real Monster in My Pocket toy. But now the reason why they had that little number on the back is because it denotes how scary the monster is supposed to be. There was also a trading card game that came out for the series, and the highest point on the back would be what monster would have the highest attack value, and that's how, you know, if you had the highest attack monsters, you could win the game a lot easier. Next, moving on here, we have the Invisible Man, who I think looks really cool. You can see he has his glasses, and some of his wrapping is coming apart, and he doesn't have any hands there. What I think is interesting is the cane is just like hanging on his coat. The way his arms are positioned, there's no way he'd be holding that. So, did he just tie the cane to his coat? That's pretty bizarre. And next here we have the Mad Scientist, and I like to call him more along the lines of Jekyll and Hyde, but again, because of the copyright that they didn't want to get in trouble, that's why they called him the Mad Scientist, because you can clearly see here there's fur around his foot, and on the one side he's wearing a shoe, but on the other side you can see that he has a bare foot coming through with hair all over it. And I love the coat, and he drinks all the potion, and yeah, turns into Mr. Hyde, and it's pretty cool. He's probably my favorite out of the series. I love the green color. Now the different colors don't denote what series. They were just made in all types of random colors, and they're really cool. I love that about them, that they're multicolored. And this is the Mummy. He was number 41 in the series. Sorry I didn't mention that before. With the Mad Scientist, he was number 39. The Monster was 13. And you can see the Mummy kind of looks shocked here. There's not much detail on him, but his face looks surprised, and you can see his wrappings coming off of his arm there. Some nice detail, and even the detail on the wrappings looks really good. So he's just gonna wander off looking for his daddy. And here we have the Ghoul. Now this was actually my first monster in my pocket that I picked up. And I didn't even know it was a monster in my pocket when I got it years ago. I thought it was something from Dungeons and Dragons. I couldn't even figure out what it was, like a board game piece. Now, he kind of reminds me of Danny DeVito, I like to think, because he's got the big gut and the bald head. And just looks like Danny DeVito after a bad day at the set. And you can see he's got a hatchet there that he's dragging along by his heels. And he's shirtless with the ripped up pants and everything. And you can even see on the one side down here, there's some nicks on the bottom of the hatchet. So the heads of his victims that he's chopped off and everything like that. So pretty cool. Definitely a gruesome looking fellow. And he would be number 37 in the series. The first original series, I believe, had 122 figures. So quite a few to collect. And this is number 42, Sharon, and now he has a animal skin on his head, and he has an oar with skulls attached to it. And there's also some like bones and stuff sticking to the oar. But he was the guy that in Greek mythology, that after you passed into the underworld of Hades, that he was the ferryman that would ferry you to the other side of the underworld, and you would have to pay him a coin, or you would be abandoned in limbo for all of eternity. So, like I said, a lot of these figures are actually based in real mythology, and this guy's really neat too. A lot of cool detail, and a lot of the figures, as you can see, you know, they really had to look up, and I like to think that in his spare time he plays some air guitar on his little oar there. So really neat looking figure. And alright, now let's move on to Series 2. And again, like I said, I don't have all from the series. These are just the figures that I have. So the first one I have here is the Spectre, number 15, the Grim Reaper. And he's pointing at you. It's your turn. He's come to collect your souls. But he's kind of an LGBT Grim Reaper, as he's done in a bright pink, but I think that looks pretty cool. I really like the side that they did. That looks very cool, and the hooded tunic and everything. And I think it's funny, if you look down here, it looks like the skulls have sunglasses. So, you know, the Grim Reaper is really like, hey, you know, the party's this way, fellas. And, you know, he's directing all the dead skeletons, you know, to the party. That's why he's dressed up in his bright pink colors. He's headed to a demon rave. So he's pretty neat looking, but definitely the most unintimidating Grim Reaper I've ever seen. And here we have a really interesting figure that cracks me up every time I look at it. This is Ganesha from, I believe, Hindu lore. And this is number 20 in the series. And you can see the broken tusk on the one side and the big ears. But the one thing I really find funny about this, you have the nice tunic down there, and he's wearing flip-flops. Or I believe Ganesha is actually a she. I'm not 100% certain about my Hindu mythology. But he's like rubbing his nipples. Like, what's going on there? Like, look at where those hands are placed. I don't know what he's up to, but that's kind of creepy. So, but overall, a really cool looking figure, and really interesting that that's not really a monster. That's just like a deity. But he kind of looks like Dumbo. He could fly with those big ears. But just really wacky, really weird, and cool. All right, and moving right along here. I don't know if I'm going to get this guy's name right, but this is Nuklave, or Nuklavi, I'm not 100% sure. This comes from Norse legends, and this is a mix of like a sea demon and a air demon, and he would be what a lot of the Vikings and stuff would blame on droughts, and like their crops wilting or plagues that would happen. So, you know, it makes a lot of sense. He's got the intimidating claws and stuff, and the Vikings and the Norse people being a very water people, you know, that they would have like a demon lore like this in their culture. So he looks really cool with the scales and the tail and everything. And then last but not least, this crazy guy here is called a Jabberwocky. Like, that is just crazy. Like, he just looks absolutely crazy with a crazy name. And this is actually a piece of fiction that he comes from Alice in Wonderland's Through the Looking Glass. And it's one of the creatures that she meets on the other side of the mirror. And you can see here he has this crazy spiny tail that actually comes out of the back of his head and wraps around his body. And he's got great claws and wings, and I mean, man, this guy's just so scary looking, and really creative looking too. And you know, I love the orange color that he's done in here, and just imagine meeting this thing somewhere, you know. And he's got with his face too. It even has that, like, that alien look with like the like from the movie Aliens, with, like, you know, the visors and everything in his teeth. So really cool looking. And that's going to do it for all the monsters in my pocket that I got here. So I hope you guys enjoyed taking a look with me at them today, and I'll see you next time. Hey guys, if you liked the video that you just watched, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. And if you do the Facebook or Twitter thing, follow me at #KingaRetro. See you next time.